What's up, YouTube? This is Mark with the Mark and Rosie Philippines Life. Welcome to my channel. Guys, I want to talk about the city life and the simple life. The simple life and the city life. This is not going to be a long video, but one thing I learned when I was in the Philippines a few times before was there is a big difference between the simple life and the city life. And just kind of thinking through some people that I know that have gone through the Philippines, and maybe some folks that stayed for quite a while in the Philippines, one of the biggest things I've noticed is that people that choose the city life don't normally stay there as long as people that choose the simple life. And I think there's some different reasons for that. One reason is if you choose the city life, yes, you're on a beautiful island. There's over 7,600 islands in the Philippines. You can just travel, island hop and everything. But if you're living in the city like Manila or maybe some of those other major cities there in the Philippines, you're still kind of living the Western life. And what's been happening, in my opinion, lately, over the past few years, is that when people move to the Philippines, or if they have intent to stay in the Philippines for any amount of time, they don't choose the city life. They choose the simple life. And because they chose the simple life, and they didn't have running water necessarily, or they didn't have hot showers necessarily, or they didn't have, just some of the luxuries that we have here in the West, they lasted longer in the Philippines. Now, yes, you can build a house there in the Philippines and still be in the province. That still counts as staying there longer because you're still living the simple life, but maybe you have a home there, or maybe you have an apartment there, or maybe you got lucky and were able to rent a house there that had warm water and so forth, where you could take warm showers or hot showers. But my experience when I stayed in the province in the Philippines, and I'm just going to give you a couple of things. One is you got to have some shower slippers, okay? Now, when I take a bath here or take a shower here at my home, I don't have to have shower slippers, all right? Because I go into my shower barefooted. I cut it on. I've got hot water and cold water. I can adjust it to the temp that I want and just really enjoy my shower. As opposed to the simple life in the Philippines, I actually went into the CR, which was a concrete room basically with wood ceilings and so forth. All types of things in the CR. Maybe it was a lizard or a rat or something running through the CR, or maybe a big giant spider or something like that. Grasshoppers or whatever. Even snakes, if you will. But I got used to it because I wanted to embrace the simple life. That's what I wanted to embrace. I wanted to see how tough I was. I wanted to see if I was cut out for that type of life. So, when I went into the CR to take my bath or my shower, whatever you call it, I had some rubber slippers that I brought to the Philippines from the United States, okay, because I was told, make sure you bring some shower slippers with you, some bath slippers with you, because you don't want to walk on that concrete floor when so many other people have walked across the floor, or maybe, like I said, just different things going on in that CR. And now, taking the shower. No, I didn't have a shower above where I adjusted the angle and adjusted the temperature. Do you know what the shower was, what the bath was? It was a big barrel. It was a big barrel. And every morning about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, some of the younger, stronger men in the home would go somewhere and they bring buckets of water into the house, and they pour the water into the bigger container that holds the water, so that when I went down to take a bath, which was multiple times a day, okay, I would literally take, what is it called? The taboo? The taboo? I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure. I should have looked it up before I did this video. But basically, it's like a scoop, a dipper, right? And I dipped the water out of the bigger barrel, and it was cold. Let me just go ahead and get that out of the way. We didn't warm that water up. That water was cold. So this was new to me, okay? Now, it wasn't new to the family members. They just poured the water and then, woo, you wake up, But when I poured the water over me, I literally had to go into a cold water dance. I'm like, you know, and it was hilarious because every time I do it, I'd have to do it really fast, right? Just throw it over me, keep throwing it over me. And then once I got myself wet, I'd take the soap or the body wash or whatever, and I'd hurry up and soak myself down all over, and then count the 3, and then go back in that cold water and pour it all over me and rinse myself off. And it was always an adventure. 2 to 3 times a day, it was a whole new adventure for me to take a bath. But I had to take a bath 2 or 3 times a day. Number one, it was refreshing because it was so hot, guys. The temperature was so hot. And even after I walked out of the CR, and those of you that don't know what a CR is, that's a comfort room. They call it a comfort room in the Philippines. So even as I walked out of the CR, literally within minutes, and I don't mean 30 minutes, I mean within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I would start sweating again. I mean, that's how the temperature, the weather was just, oh my goodness. And you know, you almost don't want to come out of the CR because you know what you're going to have to experience once you get out. So you want to dry yourself off really quickly, right? Get yourself dressed with some fresh cotton clothes, some light clothes and so forth. But that is the simple life. The dirty kitchen, the clean kitchen. You know, you got to go out and buy your water, buy your clean water. Somebody, the waterman or lady, brings clean water to your house because you don't want to, you know, drink certain water there. And I could go on and on, right? When they said, oh, we're going to have native chicken tonight. Well, here in the States, you just go buy a chicken, or better yet, go to KFC or something. But when they say they're going to have native chicken, the next thing you know, there's a couple of guys, they'll go back, catch a chicken, you'll hear the chicken screaming, boom, chop his head off, and that's what you eat that night. And it's delicious, but they call it native chicken, right? Just so many different things, guys, that literally, I remember in the mornings, I would go, or for breakfast, I mean, because you have rice with everything, right? Right, and that's even in the city, but especially out in the province, rice with everything. And I got a little bit tired eating rice with everything, but I love raisins. Okay, so what I would do is I'd walk to the store, or maybe they're at the Sorry store, and I'd buy some raisins, and I'd sprinkle the raisins on my rice just to give it a little bit of sweetness or something, just to give it a little bit something different to eat with my eggs or to eat with my eggplant and so forth. But I learned something those times that I was in the Philippines, is that I love the simple life. I love squatting down and getting into those trikes, right? 3 or 4 people, 5 people getting on a trike. I love walking to different places, seeing some historical sites, but just taking our time walking, as opposed to getting in a Grab or having your own car or your own pickup truck and driving around in traffic and so forth. There's a big difference between the city life and the simple life. So I really believe that those, and I'm just going to speak for the men, those men that fall in love with those beautiful ladies in the province, or maybe they live just on the outskirts, like mine, she lives just on the outskirts of the city. She lives the simple life in the province. She lives right on the ocean, not even 200 yards from the water, on the ocean. Maybe not even 100 yards. That's how close she is to the ocean. The city life, you're going to have a regular bed. You're going to have a bed with the mattress and the covers and the sheets and all that, the fluffy pillows. In the simple life, you may be laying on a hard bamboo bed with maybe a mattress about an inch thick, 2 inches thick, which means you're still going to feel the bamboo. If you can't deal with that, you need to be in the city life, not the simple life. There's just so many things I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head. You know, when I was in the province, the simple life, I remember that I would go next door to the family's home, the other part of the family, and we would watch rooster fighting. Yeah, we would watch rooster fighting on TV. Now, that could never happen in the United States. We don't do that to our animals here, right? But over there, you watch it. I said, what is this? They said, oh, this is a rooster fight. And they're placing bets and everything. They're showing what the bet line is on TV. And you see the owners of the roosters putting the razor blade, putting that blade on one of their feet. And they'll hold the rooster. Next thing you know, they'll put the rooster in there. And both those roosters are just tearing each other up. And the fight rarely lasts longer than a minute. And one of the roosters fall down. They're dead. They're out. Because the winning rooster sliced their head with the blade. And yeah, I mean, just so many things that are different there. Not that they're worse, not that they're better, it's just that they're different. And you have to decide, do I want the simple life or do I want the city life? Me, I love the simple life. Now, yes, do I go to the city? Absolutely. When I live the simple life over there where I'm going to, will I occasionally spend some nights in the city part, maybe in a nice hotel or maybe in a hotel? Absolutely. Me and my girl, we're going to spend maybe 2 or 3 nights at a hotel. But then we're going to go right back to wherever our simple life is, okay? So I just wanted to kind of give you some differences. If you can't put up with that simple life, find you a nice place in the city, a condo. Maybe you're in a community where there are other foreigners. They're British, there's Americans, there's Canadians, what they call the AFAM community. Maybe that's more for you. But personally, me, I don't want to be around a whole bunch of other foreigners. I'm around foreigners here in the United States, in North Carolina, or as I travel from state to state here in the U.S. I want to be in an area where there's very little foreigners. I want to be in an area where we got karaoke everywhere. I want to hear the dogs barking. I want to hear the roosters crowing. And yes, I want to hear the karaoke crank up at 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning, right? When I was there in the Philippines before, they had a karaoke machine right there in the house. That was my alarm clock when the karaoke and the singing all started about 7 o'clock in the morning. But I did not mind it because I'm a patient person. I'm a person that's willing to adapt to the community. I'm not going to take my Western attitude, my North Carolina attitude or whatever, and try to change the Philippines, which is one of the biggest mistakes that foreigners make when they go not only to the Philippines, but to other countries, but especially the Philippines, is they try to change the culture. The Filipinos have a certain way, which is why we love them. They have a certain way that they do things, right? Just like tipping. In the Philippine culture, it's okay to tip, but don't have to do those massive tips. You don't have to do those, 1,000 pesos and 5,000 peso tips, because that's not what they're used to getting. Maybe 100 pesos, maybe 200, 250 at the most. But don't go over there flaunting your money just because the dollar is strong right now and you can, your dinner might cost 300 pesos, but you're going to tip them 1,000 pesos. You can't change the culture. Yes, that'll make a difference, a little bit of a difference in their life, but just do a little bit above the average. If they're used to getting 100, give them 200, maybe 250. But don't go giving them 5,000 and 10,000 pesos, okay? Don't try to change the culture. The average income in the Philippines is about $500 a month. A month. 500, did I say 5,000? 500, full-time job, around 500 US pesos. And if they have a really good job, maybe 1,000, up to 1,000 US dollars, but very rare. It's usually right around $500 or $600 US per month. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Save your money. Help people that deserve to be helped over there. Because they love us. They love foreigners. They love to make you laugh. They love it when you make them laugh. I've got a big personality. I'm always telling jokes. I love children. I love animals. And you're going to become the center of attraction. So stay positive. Keep that positive energy. But know very quickly, either before you get there or learn very quickly, which life is for you. The simple life, which really puts you in the province areas, or the city life. Decide which one's for you. Make the best of it. Don't try to change the culture. Enjoy the cost of living there. Enjoy the freedoms that you have. Enjoy the freedom from all this crazy politics here in the West. Enjoy the freedom of all the sports, of all the politics, of all the, the shootings and the mass shootings and the fights and just all this crap over here. Enjoy yourself. Decide which life you want to live and live it. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm 123 days away from starting my new life in the Philippines. Can't wait. I hope you all enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, put on the notification bell, tell other people about our channel, and follow me along our journey. My journey right now, and then our journey. But follow me in the journey from North Carolina to the Philippines. 123 days away. I'm going to document every step of the way, all the way up until I get in the Philippines. And after